Hi everybody, today I come to you with something different and I'm extremely pleased to be able to show you 3 men's corsets that were made by Création de l'Escarpolette, which was a French-Canadian corset company that is now out of business. They're now defunct. These corsets were donated to me by Egap Tesroc, which is Corset Page Backwards. He is another person on YouTube that makes corset videos every so often. So if you would like to see what these corsets look like on the male body, I highly recommend you check out his channel and I'll link it right up in the corner there. So I'm going to go through each of these corsets in order and show you all the parts of it. So I'm going to start with this sort of bluish gray one, and I apologize if I just sort of blow through these because I'm doing 3 reviews in one video. But for this one, the material is this really gorgeous sort of soft bluish gray color. The fashion fabric is a spot broche, which is strong enough to be a strength layer for a corset in itself. And then on the inside here, it actually has herringbone couture. And you can actually see the printed name Création de l'Escarpolette right there. So I believe this is 2 layers and it has external boning channels laid down. For the construction of this, it has a 5-panel pattern. I was actually genuinely surprised about that because it seems to lend itself to a very curvy shape, but you can see the panels here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now for the assembly of this, it's a little bit unclear, but I believe that the fashion fabric and the couture here were flat-lined and the seams are actually outwards, and then external boning channels are laid down here. So these are singular boning channels, so some of them are right on the seams between the panels and others are actually in the middle of the panels to help distribute the tension. And you can also very plainly see that there is a 1-inch wide twill waist tape exposed on the inside here, running through all panels of the corset. Here's a close-up of the binding. So it is almost an exact bluish gray match to the rest of the fabric here. I believe it is a commercial bias binding, but it could have been strips of Duke Peony silk or something. It's very thin on the outside here, and you can actually see the stitch line from when she had folded it under and then stitched it down on the inside. This corset did come with a loose modesty panel here, and there are 2 steel bones in it just crisscrossing in the back there, and it's finished in the same spot broche. And it also has a boned modesty placket underneath the bust here, and it's finished in the same fabric again. It's very interesting when you turn it on its side. I don't know if that's coming out on camera. You should see it there. It's actually showing some curve. So the maker had deliberately bended this busk at the bottom to help hold in the tummy. This corset has a standard flexible busk. You can see it's actually quite bendy on this side, but on this side it has the underbusk, the boned underbusk here to help stabilize it so that it's not very bendy when it's on the body. And it's a bit of a moot point, but for those who are curious, this is a 13-inch long busk and it has 5 pins and loops on each side. The bottom 2 are closer together. This corset has 31 bones total, not including this modesty panel at the back and not including the front busk. So on each side there are 15 bones, and then that 31st one is this boned underbusk here. Now if I feel in the channels, I feel that I would say the first 4 bones here at the front are 1/4-inch wide flat steel bones, and this is to help stabilize the tummy, keep it a little bit flat. And then all the other ones in these side channels are 1/4-inch wide spiral bones. Now in the back here, the bones are still 1/4-inch wide, very, very thin, quite flexible, but I'm guessing because of the way that the grommets are so close together, it helps to control the cinch a little bit. And here's a close-up of the grommets. There are 34 of them total, so 17 on each side. They're set about 3/4 of an inch apart here, and then closer to the waistline you can see that they are very, very close together for ease of cinching at the waist. Look how tiny these are. These are less than size 00 grommets. They might be size X00 or possibly even smaller than that, and the flange around them is very, very thin. However, I can tell that this particular corset has gotten a beating, so I'm very surprised that none of them have actually ripped out. In fact, I can barely even get a fingernail under any of them, not even these ones at the waist that look like they've had a lot of tension on them. They are not coming out. And here's what the back of them look like. So the washer is not actually all that much bigger than the grommet itself. They've all rolled really beautifully. I don't see any splits or cracks in them. They are not coming out at all. So I'm very curious to know what brand these are, because I'm extremely impressed with them. Here is the second corset, and it's very similar, if not identical, in pattern and construction to the first one, so I'm not going to go into a huge amount of detail here. But for the material of this one, I believe the fashion fabric is this beautiful soft black leather, and it has external boning channels of these oxblood leather, so it's really striking together actually, and it's held up very, very well considering the age of this corset. On the inside here, you can see once again a very fine herringbone couture on the inside as a strength fabric. For the construction of this, once again, 5-panel pattern, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think that the construction was the same as the last one, where the couture and the fashion fabric were flat lined. The seams were most likely pressed outwards, and then external boning channels were laid down on top of the seams and also in the middle of the panels. Once again, you can see the waist tape exposed on the inside. And here's the binding. It's made from matching oxblood leather here, and it's machine stitched on the outside and on the inside here. And it's customary, it's pretty normal for leather or pleather binding to not be folded down on the inside. It's just folded, stitched, and then left raw here because it's not going to fray. I believe this corset didn't come with a modesty panel. I didn't see it in the package, and this one also doesn't have a modesty placket underneath the busk here. However, this busk is much more sturdy. I believe it's still a standard flexible busk, but it must have a bone inside, like underneath the first busk, because you can see once again it's curved. It's very, very sturdy. It's more sturdy than the last one, as well as all these front flats are curved as well. This corset actually has more bones than the last one though. This has 17 per side. So you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. So once again, the first few of these are flat steel bones. The first, I'd say 3 of them. And then it goes on to 1/4 inch wide spiral steel bones and these external channels. And then once again, 2 very thin 1/4 inch wide flats at the back. And here's a close-up of the grommets. I'm showing you just the one side. It looks the same on the other side. This corset didn't come laced, so I just didn't bother to relace it. The grommets have tarnished a little bit. I'm not surprised because this is like 8 years old, but you can see that none of them are pulling out, none of them are fraying. There's no splits in these. So once again, I am left kind of speechless and kind of wondering what brand these are. And finally, I present to you this 1907 corset. So for the material of this is once again black and white leather together, alternating panels. And then on the inside here, once again, it's herringbone couture. And it's really interesting to see how the grain of the couture was cut when making this corset. I'm going to turn this to the outside for the construction so you can see how many panels there are. So there's basically 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, that's one gigantic panel there, 7, 8, 9 panels per side. And you can see how they're all diagonal, and this one has 2 gores in there, that one has 1 gore, and then it has the busk on that side. So this is probably not the easiest to actually sew together, but I'm very impressed at how clean it was done. The bones in this corset are actually sandwiched between the panels, which actually has me believe that the entire leather side was assembled together, and then the entire couture side was assembled together. So you basically had essentially 2 layers, and then they were set wrong sides together and had the boning channel stitched down. So when I try to pull apart the panels here, I actually find that they do separate. So the couture layer and the leather layer are actually anchored down at the boning channels, and also at the very tip of these gores here. I can see that there is a bit of a fine cross stitch at the very tips of those gores to try and anchor them in. And once again, you can see the exposed waist tape here. I believe that the waist tape was anchored to the couture layer even before the couture layer and the leather layer were put together. This this is probably not dirt, it's probably just from the leather modesty panel. So clearly this has a modesty panel. Once again, it has 2 steel bones in it going in a crisscross fashion, and it has coutil on the inside. This also has a sturdy modesty placket, which actually has 2 bones in there side by side. This one is not as curved, it's more straight, more in the 1907 style. It actually has a little pillow at the top, probably to protect your sternum from any pokiness from the underbust. So I find that to be actually quite considerate. And the binding is the same as the others, where you can see it's actually relatively thin on the outside, but you can see the line right above that where it's machine stitched. Here it is on the inside, and because this is leather, it's not folded down, it's just stitched down and then left raw here since it's not going to fray. The busk in the front is 13.5 inches long, and once again, I believe it to be a fairly flexible busk, standard width, 1/2 inch on each side, but like I had mentioned before, the underbusk here helps to keep it nice and straight. This corset has 28 bones total, not including the busk and not including the modesty panel here. So on each side there are 13 bones, and then there are these 2 bones underneath the busk right there. So these bones, you can see that they go straight down vertically. They do not follow the curve of the panels here. So you can see it's mostly double boned every so often. 2, 4, 6, 8. Right here there's 9, 10, 11, that's double boned again right there, and then 12, 13. There are a total of 50 grommets in this corset, 50, 25 on each side because it comes up so high in the back. The same teeny tiny grommets with a very small flange around them. Most of them are 3/4 of an inch wide apart, except for right around the waist here where you can see they get really close together. You can see they're tarnishing. Some of them are green, but they're not actually falling out at all. So there we have it, 3 really gorgeous and well-made men's corsets made by Creation l'Escarpolette. Once again, huge thanks to Egap Tesroc or Egap Tesroc for donating these corsets for study. It's been a huge honor to even be able to look at these and hold these in my hand. So if any of you have any questions about these corsets, feel free to leave a comment down below, or if you own a corset by Creation l'Escarpolette, let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you in a few days for the next video. Bye.